with the Phoenix. But I think the biggest shout out is honestly that Neon versus the Jet.
Yeah. The Neon versus the Jet. There's it's kind of crazy because I mean last time we did see SRG play this, like we didn't even have a Phoenix. Like it does feel like there's such a big difference in regards to like what we're really trying to run here, which I really like, but I don't know. I do really like the comp that we're seeing. I think Vanitas kind of emphasizing their role on that duelist role and making that, enforcing that double duelist to come out right now is quite interesting. So I mean, all in all, we get into the game, guys. This is it. We're starting out our round 2 Swiss stage with that SRG and Sentinel Otters. But excitement, of course, stops for a second so that silence can take place. And it really is up to the information at this point, right? Getting the entry in, making sure that they know exactly what they're doing here for SRG. And they're very, very well, I mean, collided. It seems like they're just playing together, entering onto the site and making sure that this pistol round is there. So all in all, 4 players left alive and yeah, a dream. So round win for SRG.
I think that this gives you such like a good idea of, yes, we know that SRG have historically had explosive rounds, right? But it also gives you an idea of what kind of vibes I think Vanitas and Glowstick are going to be bringing to the table. Like if we think back to what Swim Trek Blue looked like and what these 2 players were doing in the server last stage, it's that addition of, okay, SRG, you've got firepower that you're bringing to the table here with these 2 players, but it's also tempo. Like they're 2 players who are so good at playing that kind of like scrappy high play style, and it's gonna be fun to see 2 players who are now like also looking to keep up with, I think, the pacing that you see Dodonut going in at times here as well.
Mm-hmm. Slower pacing here up towards B, but that's good information. They already know someone's working their way up in A. Oh no.
They're trying to catch those rotations. I think expecting some of that defender-sided of aggression, right? This is something that Sun Otters has done historically. Like those eco pushes, trying to look to death ball. SRG, I think they're just trying to buy time, see if Sun Otters will give them anything, and just playing really really disciplined right now.
I think Oasis knows someone has to be watching this. But I like this. A slight rotation outside of B. They've made enough damage to make Oasis almost falter from the A sites. SRG very much keeping things intact. They have so much information and space.
Yeah, that they do. I mean, it's just one of those rounds where you're expecting, especially with how they're posturing in spawn right now, this is okay, we're all trying to die to this spike and not give Vanitas any more orbs, anybody else, honestly, any other orbs, with how quickly they're charging into that run it back. And of course, I don't know, it's just gonna poke and prod for a little bit of information and whatnot. They're obviously not wanting to give that outlaw away.
Camera of the essence as well, shutting things down and almost immediately. And a gun to be picked up, but it doesn't matter, right? Time isn't really on their side this time around. And it is going to be Donut just kind of waiting alongside for anyone to make some noise. But yeah, already the second round loss of the pistol round, which is okay. I mean, there's some leeway there. But SRG, right? We've played on this map before, and it was like a 13-3, right? So I'm hoping we don't get too comfortable.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things end up looking afterwards. SRG, of course, they're one of those squads where they are going to be disciplined, right? They want to make a statement with every single win. So the too comfortable thing, it's not something that you see happen too often.
I'll show them.
But yeah, I think that was huge. Even though Vanitas isn't able to get a second, dying there gets that 5th orb on the table. He's now just 1 away. That's why they're prioritizing this C-long control here as well, especially with the investment of what was being shown. But actually, sorry, I had to pause there because at first I initially thought it was the attacker-sided dark cover that had gone out, which I think it initially was, and then May threw a smoke on top.
That is so interesting.
I think it's the comfort of knowing that they have the opportunity to scale, right? While Moya's exploring on the other side of the map.
And there it goes as well, getting tagged, which is unfortunate, but nobody's holding on to the site. I mean, already stepping back from it, allowing Vanitas to gather even more space and information. And I'm sure hearing more than just invert over towards that spawn side, so they're going to be able to play with that. I do like this lurk, though, that we're seeing from Noya. In due time, slowly but surely coming out. They just got to rely on Donut to keep this hold. And it's becoming a bit too late. They can't hold long enough. Noya taking their time, but at the end of the day, SRG winning every single fight. And Noya there to finish it off. So huge round win. Timing was big.
Yeah, I'm also just, I think, generally surprised to see SOTR is trying to completely flood out through CT. Like, we didn't see garage control be contested afterwards. All just trying to flood out from the same angle. It was very comfortable for SRG to play that post plant. They had those crossfires, the contact plays being held there as well, constantly refragging each other. And then, like you were saying, Noya is just right behind them, and they're buying all of the time that they possibly could. A little bit too much respect, I think, that was given there. But now onto an eco round here for SOTRs.
And that's going to be damage to their economy. Huge despair, especially in this round. You know, losing a fourth one doesn't feel any good. So playing together up in mid, trying to gain some of that ground, because it does. I mean, SRG has had a lot of space in mid and A.
Yeah, that they do. That cam in short is always just so good for information here for Noya. Just giving that information of whether or not anybody has looked to push up, and otherwise it's a really good cam for just re-clear information as well, even if they didn't have an insert over on this A side. Just for future rounds, something to keep in mind. Great timing, just being able to tuck behind that drone, and that's also taking the timing where Avery is now looking to fall off of this site.
The timing is close. Avery getting a good shot at that. And unfortunately can't seem to keep the site at bay. But did their job, right? They've gotten their one Noyas out of the mix. Now all it takes is just that retake potential here.
It's a great hot hands just to delay that push a little bit longer after the hot hands encounter had actually gone out over in hell. This crossfire is just about impossible to break, right?
Hot flash is scary too. That leaves Battison coming out, making sure that they can get whatever they please. And now playing as a team, I mean, it's really hard to play against SRG. I do like the formation. I think SOTR's had like a good idea at heart, but they're just playing crossholds like crazy here.
Yeah, I agree. I think like you had the cloudburst that went out, invert trying to get out. The timing was honestly perfect out of that curveball from Battison alongside the paranoia from May as well. But it just unfortunate they don't also have the weaponry for the sprays that were needed in that moment either. So really tough in that kind of regard. It looks like in this round though, SOTRs, they want to be a little bit more proactive with the space that they're going to contest, which I do quite like over at this A side.
Yeah, more aggressive push this time, knowing they can at least get one, because there is always that slight push that Sentinels like to play for. Now with weapons, they're losing out on Battison, who now is able to, I guess, maybe had their run it back before, but kind of waiting alongside to see what they can do, peeking at the correct moment, making sure to apply that pressure here is going to be made, and the paranoia to make sure there's even more, but the flash leaves Vanita's location out, and it doesn't matter. A 3K to still keep SRG in the game.
And Noya is just already here waiting for Invert, and Invert is so aware of it as well, but it doesn't even matter. A 5-0 start here for SRG. I think continuing to display why they've been one of the best teams in the GC scene so consistently. Now the added firepower here of Vanitas and Glowstick, I think that it has looked seamless. Granted though, Gompers, even though SRG are 5-0 right now, I don't feel like they're doing anything too crazy in the server, if I'm going to be honest. And that's not me downplaying, like, SRG. That's not me saying, like, oh, like, yeah, they're not doing anything too crazy. Like, they're not good. It's just that they're so good. It's really just very basic Valorant rounds that I feel like we're witnessing. And I do think that they're taking advantage of the fact that there are a lot of those moments where it feels like SOTRs is giving SRG a lot of respect in the server. They're kind of just able to walk around.
You know what? And I want to give respect to Vanitas for a second, because we've seen Vanitas on Ghost Gaming, and a spectacular player all around. But to see them play at this level, just because there's so much just assistance and respect on this team of SRG, it does feel like we're seeing a completely different person, especially on this Phoenix player. Like, positioning is perfect. It's favorable for a Phoenix. They're always being very, very hyper aware of their utility. They're helping the team. It's honestly extremely impressive.
This goes here.
Definitely is. Definitely is. Always fun to see Vanitas popping off in the server.
Yeah.
10-2 start here as well. I think like it just says so much about the value that you're going to be able to get out of your Phoenix in these moments as well.
Oh gosh. Yep, Dodo Nut already timing it. It's perfect. And it's just the util. Like zoning them in. Now you've got the molly and the stun to keep them inside of that corner. It's like it should not be happening. And I completely honestly, Ash, you spoke of the future because like they really aren't doing much.
Like
you are correct.
It's not anything that's too crazy. It's just these very simple combinations that are working out perfectly for them every single time. And it's just moments like that, like the coordination that we're seeing here from SRG and being able to make the most out of it. But I do think, like, I like the adjustments that we're seeing from SOTR, right? The last round, sure, it was an eco, but it was a very different look from the ecos that we've seen previously. And they were preparing more for the gun rounds, but that is an adjustment in and of itself, right? They're getting a little bit more proactive. This time, it will be that search of information towards mid. It seems like SOTRs have kind of pinpointed that they were lacking info of this space kind of early on, and that mid control being uncontested is something that was working out really nicely for SRG in the past. The blind Hunter's Fury going out honestly does not catch anyone, unfortunately, but good information nonetheless to be able to catch Noya off.
Not getting caught out. Okay, Alexis just knows what's going on at all times. Very, very hyper aware. And I like that. A big clearing of their flank, making sure the site is to be kept by Vanitas. The ultimate is good to keep themselves alive, maybe for just a bit longer. And Paranoid, they keep things at bay. So SRG, they're fighting with everything they have to keep them in the game, but it's unfortunate. They hear that TP kind of coincide, and now they're waiting to take Vanitas out. So that crown is gained. This might be the time for SOTRs to actually get their round in, but if Glowstick can keep this somehow, maybe it can work for them, and it won't. So finally putting themselves on the board.
Really nicely done there by SOTRs, finding that success right off the back of that timeout that they took during the previous eco. And that mid control, getting them that opportunity to find the rotation just a bit faster as well into those retakes, really denying SRG that opportunity from getting really too comfortable in the post plant, because they were able to pull Alexis away from that play there as well. She had stuck around towards long, knowing that there may be a flank incoming, looking to shut that down from Battison. And it changes things up a little bit. They're not able to have those crossfires that we saw working out so well for them in the first 7 rounds.
This goes here.
The more players they have, the better the formation is looking here for SRG. Of course, they have had many, many times where, you know, these fights break out over towards main. So I'm not judging them for their patience here. Just kind of waiting to see what Avery's going to do once that dissipates. A bit scary, but Oasis isn't positioned to really help Avery here. So under that circumstance that a peek does come through, it really is just their fight to take on.
Take flight.
Information should be good. And the swim will come through. They're looking to keep the insert there from Dodo Nut. Just don't want to cut noise. Look to hit late. And I think SOTRs, they're kind of aware of that. That's why you see them initially falling off, expecting maybe a burst execution to come on.
My wire.
But they're trying to kind of fiddle with the timing a little bit here on the side of SRG, especially with that lurk smoke going out here at B. Want to put a little bit more pressure here. Force a rotation off.
Area.
I'm wondering, are they going to bite it, right? SOTRs, they do have 2 players watching B. They're just waiting for that certain push to come through, but you got 4 players moving in on you. It becomes almost impossible. Avery sitting down towards the back site, having to keep the site to themselves. And SOTRs, they're slowly fighting back. And that player advantage is in fact theirs, but at this moment in time, one whiff really costs you the entirety of the round. They don't have the spike down. I don't think they can.
10 seconds left.
They can win this,
Oh, this is insane. Noya might be able to really just close it off.
Yeah, and she does, right? Like, do you know how well played that was? How good the comms had to be and clear in that moment for Vanitas to be so disciplined with the time ticking down with 12 seconds left, knowing there are 2 players on site in that smoke, that they could have also even re-cleared, walked into short. They took the risk, allowed Noya to take that time on her lurk and get the backstab. That was a round that Sen Otters should have won in theory with how well they were flooding back into site, getting those trades and dividing SRG up.
Revealing area.
It's been getting a lot closer now that Sen Otters, they have broken, you know, a bit of their post plant positioning here for SRG.
Such early trips that are set up here from Sen Otters as well over at that A side, just to get that early signal. But where SRG are maybe poking and prodding, we know they like to go for these C-pops out of the top site smoke.
Try to at least play into the angle here, which is a good call from May. Trying to shut things down earlier, but Vanitas is making it really hard, and that run it back once again just brought back into their arsenal. So Oasis a bit too late for that flank, and they were kind of expecting it because they've seen it before coming through from other players here. So, yeah, unfortunately it doesn't work out.
Yeah, another open and close round here for the side of Shopify Rebellion Golds, continuing to display their dominance. Unfortunate, I think, for Sen Otters, because they are throwing a lot of different ideas into the server right now, trying to problem solve a bit of that earlier information, a bit of that defender-sided aggression, even how well that last fight was going on that A site for them. It's just SRG, they've been really good at responding, and I feel like at times it does feel like they are 10 steps ahead.
Revealing area.
But I think that's more of a signal of how good they are at problem solving, with the Hunter Fury now going out on the execution with them.
You know, and we talked about like the blind Hunter Fury coming through, but it seemingly worked out a lot better this time around for SRG, right? Hitting these players, almost isolating them in these fights, and now Oasis is once again stuck on that flank. There hasn't been any noise, and I do like the read coming through from Noya. Yeah, what is going on? They readjusted so quickly here for SRG.
They really have. And I think back to what I was saying, feeling like they're 10 steps ahead, but I think that that's more about how good they are at just reacting to anything that Sen Otters are doing. The calling right now from Lexi is insane. I think that her job definitely gets infinitely easier when you do have a Vanitas that is going 17-3. But again, capitalizing on these run it backs over and over again, whether it's in the post plant, whether it's to engage, not even always needing it to open up these rounds, seldom needing it actually, if anything.
Okay, big workup. Now this is, you know, and it's the same aggression we see all the time. I do wonder how well this is going to work out, especially now that they've kind of gained ground as to where Lexus is, the fact that they're really working themselves up. It's so weird. Like, Sen Otters are getting more and more aggressive as that domination comes through from SRG. Of course, this being a save round, being able to pick up some of these weapons might help them in regards to allowing Badison to get that ultimate, play that run it back. But Alexis is sneaky, and they're not really letting themselves be seen. But luckily enough, this might be good here for Sen Otters, right? They have the ultimate, the flash comes through, Vanitas is playing by themselves, making sure that they have something to work with here. But this player advantage here from SRG, putting them in a really bad spot here for Sen Otters. And Oasis cannot pull through.
No, a 10-1 start here for SRG, and the information was so good from Vanitas, even just keeping a hold on that long line, so they were able to tell that Oasis was likely coming in through that flank through short there as well. Really nicely done, keeping them contained while also minimizing the risk to those other players. And again, you talked about that aggression that we saw on that eco round, and SRG, the reactions for Lexi to be the one to stick back, hold back, trying to sell that fake of that lurk up there over at that A site. Really nicely done. Another mid exploration here for Sen Otters, and they're constantly punished out of window.
they're giving the fights over, and that's super, super dangerous. They're not closing off these angles. They're not ensuring that the site is safe to keep. And at this point, Invert, all they can do is try to get one to make sure, you know, okay, it's going to be a bit easier in regards to getting back onto site, but that it will not be.
Spike planted.
Tall task here for the last two players on the side of Sun Otter. There is a neural theft at the very least if Oasis is able to get a pick and get that information off the body.
Yeah, the smoke comes up. Okay, Cage is actually helping Oasis. I do like the proactivity we're seeing from Avery, but at the same time, they are down.
Yeah, unfortunate. They're not able to make that magic happen. Only able to find one round in the previous half. SRG, they have an opportunity to honestly close things out in the pistol, knowing how quickly this map can end in potentially just 2 rounds now that we swap sides. Sunauder, they gotta be near perfect in this pistol round, though, to give themselves the best fighting chance here at Haven. But at this point, I think this is one of those moments where you're looking forward to split Gompers, which is concerning because Haven was supposed to be Sunauder's map pick.
Yes. I was wondering, you know, and I guess it's because they were feeling pretty confident with obviously the changes with Oasis coming into the IGL and now being able to focus a bit more into that role and Battison being able to focus on that duelist role, right? But I mean, we could see maybe not the Haven. SRG are looking very, very strong on this map. Thus far, will be hitting 100% win percentage if they run away with it. But let's see, you know, pistol round coming up. There's already that first engagement coming through from Invert. So there's a chance things could be different here.
Yeah, they do have the advantage at the very least. Look at the setup that we have going on here for SRG as well, right? You get the early signal into short, and then there's a backside cam to get the information on the cross of the rest of the site as well. Or even just for retake information. But after they fall off of C, it immediately pushes out from SRG down C long, catching Oasis off guard. They are completely aware of how this setup is looking now.
And at this point, all they have to do is wait. Vanitas is the top fragger of the team and actually can't even seem to really keep the site, but Noya does it themselves with a 3K to keep everybody intact. Dude, well, 1v3 on site is crazy.
Dude, if Madame President's on your site, you're not getting that spike down. Are you joking?
That's crazy.
It's the way that things... We're like, okay, you've got 2 players on site. They end up splitting up, and you're like, okay, this is getting a little dicey now. But then you notice, wait a second. Guys, my Cypher's Noya. Yeah. We're so good. We're so good. Things are chill. I don't even have to rotate. It's okay. Last round, though. Match point for the side of SRG on Sun Otter's map pick here of this round 2 in Swiss.
The last potential round, and that in itself is a bit scary because we do have a scattered buy, you know, already losing out on Battison, which was going to be that entry, but the flash comes out in due time, and of course damage is there, and SRG, it's fine. They got Vanitas. They have the Guardian. Vanitas hitting the caps with it, seemingly, though. I mean, there is a bit of danger here. 1v2. Invert slowly backing themselves away from the situation, but this could be it, right? We're hitting this match point. This might be a 13-1. And that... really just have to wait and see. I like the double swing pick. Invert tries to make it happen, but low stick, I mean, overall, SRG in general, we're just doing absolutely amazing.
As well. And it's going to be up to Sun Otters to, I think, show a lot of that early presence. Once the barrier drops, they're going to want to try and condition SRG into using some of that utility early on. Otherwise, there is so much of that kind of stall potential, that slow down potential there for them, for this squad to really snuff out the attack there from Sun Otters, which is something that unfortunately we didn't get to see like too much of on Haven, but it'll be interesting to see how that looks to work out with how like burst executing this composition on the side of Sun Otters can be at times.
Yeah, we didn't get to see much attack either, you know, when we think about it, guys. It was like, I think like 3 rounds that we got to see, right? And not even a full buy. So, you know, for Sun Otters, it's time for them to really showcase what they got. Battison on a, you know, Battison and Invert in perspective, you know, in position that feels a bit more comfortable for them. But that pop flash comes out. It does happen to get someone. So the information is sent forward here. But heavy mid presence. I'm not quite sure how they're gonna like this one, especially with the damage Venus is already making so early on.
Splish splashing into sewers on top of that as well. That's the rotation to be called here from SRG. You have this Trailblazer now getting that information, gets shot out so they can continue to keep Dodo Nuts positioning a secret.
Oh, and Dodo Nuts still waiting down in the backside. Of course, though, Sen Otters, they're fighting with their lives. It's looking really good. I like the rotation. They got their information in mid. They've managed to make their way over towards the A site, and it's already looking pretty put together.
Really nicely done in that regard. We're gonna have to see if Glowstick and Benitez are gonna be able to do anything in this 2v4 scenario. Bit of a tough task here for these two players. You're just gonna have them on the side of Sen Otters running things down. 1-0, a pistol round to be picked up here from Sen Otters. A great start for the squad as well, looking to bounce back from that loss on their map pick.
Yeah, exactly what's needed. They needed that round, right? Pistol rounds always do also put like a pretty good taste in your mouth. You know, you're continuing on. The momentum's now starting. So I'm liking it.
Saw that lurk being set up here from Oasis. Really no surprise in that regard at all here for the side of Sen Otters. Only having a bandit in hand as well. So really only buying up for the players on Sen Otters who are all sticking together as part of that core. 4 players.
Oh, the up down for SRG. And it was actually perfect. It was beautiful. They thought to. That's all they needed. Of course, Venus lost their life in the meantime, but it really did close off this entry, and it makes them have to reassess.
Now they have to juggle these guns back here as well because SRG, they want to go explain. They want to see if they can capitalize on that. It doesn't even matter. They're just going to swing out of the smoke and dry. And those weapons that were invested completely taken out of the hands of Sen Otters. SRG, they win out their eco round up against Sen Otters. That's tough, Cappers. That is tough because they just started off with that pistol round. Like that was supposed to be like the kick start to their momentum here on Split. And it gets like completely knocked out of them from, was it 2 classics and a high-low? I think they both had classics.
It was
Classic
one
and a bandit.
Bandit, yeah, one bandit, which I don't even.
Diabolical.
The investment was worth it. Like, oh gosh, you could tell they were cooking that one up though, for sure. I'm excited for the next comms video, Alexis. Let's see what that one was looking like, but.
I mean,
kind of waiting for yeah. Like, just kind of waiting for it to come up. But Noya, I mean, making good work with shotgun. Not even able to get through mid. Of course, that's what the duoship's going to be looking like here with Venitez and Noya in mid.
It's also kind of what you expect, right? Like, Sen Otters, they lost the last round. They don't have anything to really work with here, and they're running through a poison orb. They tried to clear things out with a paint shell, but just wasn't enough. I think, though, like, to be fair, if we're going to call back to the last round, because I am so sorry, Avery, as goated as you are, SRG would have to make some insane mistakes to lose this flawless round for themselves. Because, Gompers, who would expect 2 players on their ego to be high-low back?
No one. Literally no one, bro. You peek and angle and you're high-lowing me, I'm going to scream. That's not funny. It's
on
really
on their
insane.
eco round.
I also feel like it really just like diminishes. I don't know. Like you don't even feel like you can peek anything anymore.
No, because that takes the wind out of you. I think like when you lose to the pistols in that fashion on your buy up. But redemption's still possible here for Sen Otters as they posture outside of A.
Yeah, SRG, they're on a pretty good momentum, on a good streak right now, just trying to apply enough pressure to almost make this buy around useless. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out the way that was planned. I do like it though, right? A ton of information given away. The rotation comes in quickly enough to where the Sen Otters, you know, they've invested a lot of util here.
Yeah, that they have, but now here's the delay coming out, right? Snakebite from Noya slows things down, even though they get the insert over at ramp. And the fact now that they don't have Oasis anymore also means that May doesn't have a clean cross that's going to be unguarded.
That's going to feel very good. kind of keeping the curiosity over towards the A site while that movement in mid is made.
It's taking a lot of time, though, to walk clear into mid after making so much noise at A. And it's because they wanted to go back to A regardless. They knew that the timing was going to be poor over at B. The rotation would have been called. And they sold this really nicely here for SOTR.
Oh, wow. And they have to move as a unit here for SRG because they're stuck in a really bad spot in regards to, like, just player advantage, right? So playing this 2v4, seeing what they can do. There isn't much. I mean, Glowstick does have a paranoia, and there is some information that can come through from Alexis, but all in all, kind of seeing what they can do. Glowstick does not know what's happening over on the right-hand side. Might just be able to take them out. May goes down. And it creates a bit of an opening. It's not over just yet. Timing actually isn't terrible here. If Glowstick can paranoia this perfectly in order for Alexis to get themselves onto the backhand site, it might just work.
One
Information there. They know somebody's hiding over towards the back. Avery trying to make the pinch. And that they will do. So, SOTR, they get another round.
Well, that they do. Got a little bit dicey for a second there. But SOTR, they stand tall into the post plant. And a really nice call from SOTR to revisit that A site after keeping May there. Knowing that they didn't quite have that timing. And I think a very important round for SOTR to be able to pull away as well. To be able to try and equalize early on. Otherwise, things continue to get a little bit dicey there with that economy still. Not quite out of the danger zone yet, but very much so on equal footing between both teams.
Ooh. I was wondering if they heard the TP or not, but it does seem like they did. Unfortunate. The crosshold is not going to last. Now Vanitas has to try to at least rip one out of the hands of SOTR.
Yeah, definitely tough. Doesn't work out for them that time around. The information that SRG are getting over at A main, though, Dodonut's posted on a deep angle with that operator, as the rest of SRG is stacked towards this B side.
When the pop flash out, it's not working out the way that they had planned it. And I'm liking this. SOTR, they're a bit more proactive. They know that SRG are getting cocky. And they're really shutting them down in that regard. So Noya's just going to have to hold it down towards backside. We've seen Noya do it before. Madam President! She is definitely back for another one. The headshots don't land this time. But it's okay. They've managed to at least diminish some of these numbers for Dodonut.
Operator in hand, though, makes this retake that much more difficult for her.
Oh gosh, and peeking up. Just not gonna work out. Unfortunately, the barrel of the gun larger than anything, really.
Larger than any other barrel in the game. Fun fact from Gompers, guys.
Fun
on
fact
Game
from me,
Changers
guys.
broadcast. But nicely done there from SOTR. I think we saw the vision, right, of what SRG were trying to go for with that trap play, and SOTR, they punish it perfectly. They take the gamble. They're like, nah. Glowstick's not faking this TP. We're hard clearing this. And it works out very nicely. I think now for SOTR, it's about turning these couple of rounds that they've been able to chain together into a longer series of momentum for themselves to get just as many rounds as possible here on this initial half, where you kind of expect it to be a bit more of the strength of the squad when you're looking at that double duelist composition.
I'm wondering if this up will hurt them, but I guess we'll see. I mean, there is the Blade Storm, so all in all, pretty big backup there.
I think that's also why you also see Avery without a weapon in hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just trusting Inver on those op skills, waiting for SRG to make a mistake, but they don't want to take that risk of having an additional weapon in the hands of anybody else, and Noya goes out for the first blood. Not able to get too much more, but good information garnered at the very least here for SRG as well.
Oh man, and here it comes. Just unfortunate they can't get anything with it. The double peek out Glowstick with this save round is absolutely destroyed.
Where are we going?
It's so risky. How? What is going on? Through the smoke. We're literally shooting through smoke. We don't know where anyone is. And I like the eagerness, right, to get the weapon, but unfortunately that really does put them in a bad spot. Now the rotation has to come through here for SRG.
Yeah, Alexis in a 2v1 scenario, not having that opportunity to pick a weapon up this time around. We'll be waiting here in heaven, not quite prepared for this angle here for Oasis. Off the information of that haunted drone. It'll be Oasis for the swing. Things got dicey there in B-main. Things got weird, Gompers. I literally looked like that monkey gif where he's like, he has his like hands on his head. Do you know which one I'm talking about? I feel like everyone knows which one I'm talking about.
I think I know what you're talking about. I like have it in my head.
Guys, if you guys can visualize it, that's what I looked like when I was watching that Omen exchange over in B-main, because I was like, what is going on? Everyone's blind. We've got a paranoia in our hands. Don't know what's happening.
Oh god.
Amazing.
Cover going out.
Now is the time, if any, to really regather ourselves. There are a couple ultimates on the board, and after these two ults, I mean, there really isn't much they can work with other than maybe Oasis for the next couple rounds. So, do you think really trying to indulge in baiting them out would be perfect? But it's pretty hard because Sun Otters, they're playing so good.
Yeah, definitely looking more comfortable here. Continuous display of info and presence over in mid will continue that cycle. Utility.
Pop flash comes out. Glow stick TP! I mean, all in all, yes, they didn't die by the showstopper, but still getting downed, unfortunately so. But the player advantage now here for SRG. We haven't seen this in a while. It is going to bring a difference here to this round. Slowly trying to take these players out. Of course, damage is made very drastically over to Battison. It leaves Dodonut allowing themselves to go onto the site. Very easily so taking it here for SRG.
Yeah, really nice set retake coming in there from SRG. You saw the combination of the hot hand and the fast lane for Dodonut to provide that coverage so they could clear hell out a little bit more safely. Nicely done overall. But again, I think Sun Otters, they've been approaching the map kind of the way that we wanted them to at the beginning of this game, right? Where we want to see some of those like slower defaults coming out. Have them pull a bit of that utility out from Noya, from Vanitas, whether it's Dodonut as well, like just trying to get things out like the hot hands, like the snake bite, like that relay bolt, just those pieces of util that could really be that delay factor or a factor of just divvying up the team, and it's gone really nicely here. The conditioning, though, about to be taken advantage of by Sun Otters with how quickly they're scaling up a ramp.
Yeah, looking to be a bit more explosive this time around, but waiting for that flash to come through. SRG playing together, making sure they are not missing out on any opportunity of winning these rounds. I mean, just being 3-4 right now doesn't feel good for them. So they're going to have to lock in a little bit harder here. 2v5. And the spike is in hand, so for me to really work through this, it's going to be hard, especially with the dissipation of the smoke. Now Noya really making some of that damage too. And Oasis, Noise has been heard. They know exactly how to play this with a flawless round here.
Really nicely done here by SRG. Shutting things down completely with how they're just keeping a handle on that ramps control. And very quick to react, I think, to the adjustment from Sun Otters, because we haven't really seen that kind of burst in presence off barrier drop from them since like pistol round, I want to say.
I'd say. Yeah, for SRG, man, it's definitely kind of coming together here. I will say, I mean, Sun Otters, they haven't had the opportunity to really fully adapt now, and I do think they're going to try for something different. The smoke is up. Battison's just looking to make some noise. Actually, invert, my apologies.
Look at how much space is being controlled right now by SRG. They're happy to give this site up because they're not expecting anyone to like fully walk out. We'll maintain that having control. Viper's pit into mid, and then the deep line again for Dodonut over in B main. Just so much that they're contesting at the moment that Sun Otters are gonna have to look to find that information elsewhere. It will be the operator revealed over at that B side, pulling Dodonut off the line. They know that she is gonna she's gonna have to be flashed off the angle if they do want to go for that execution. Time's ticking, and we're still in a default at 45 seconds.
Yeah, they have the most space over at A, so you can see they're feeling a bit more confident about it, but there is a worrying factor there. You know, in regards to Glowstick also still having that paranoia, playing
30 seconds left.
some sort of contact piece here with Alexis. And off that information already coming over towards the A site. They're pushing themselves in. Alexis ready for that paranoia to kind of play with it. And now they know they haven't entered onto site yet. This is huge. And Glowstick can play with it. So 13 seconds left. They have the spike. They just need to hold off a bit longer here and make sure Invert doesn't feel comfortable enough getting themselves onto site. It's so dangerous for Sen Otters. But time is done.
They can't do anything about this.
No.
Really nicely done. I mean, Glowstick wins the round out there for SRG, but it isn't just the picks that were gotten. It was also the fact that I don't know if it was Alexis who made the call, whoever it was who was like, okay, no. Or if maybe it was the information that Dodo Note was relaying, but someone made the decision. Yeah. And you usually we would kind of assume that it is going to be Lexi because she is the IGL for this team. For them not to rotate. They didn't buy that fake, not even a little bit. No one moved! Not even a millimeter, Gompers. Like, on my screen, those icons stayed completely still until the execution came out. So, nice discipline there. And Otters, though, have to go back to the drawing board to break back into these rounds. But they do have a little bit more of that space to work with how much closer this map has been compared to the first.
They've been a lot more reactive here for SRG instead of playing, you know, as far up as they did here on the defense, waiting for Sen Otters to actually make that first-hand mistake now. Jiggle peek that comes through. Noya really just closing these angles off, making sure that mid control is there.
Noya's been an absolute menace on this map thus far. Again, at Anchor Queen, as expected, right? But on the eco now, Otters showing a bit of that presence, trying to draw out some more of that utility over at that B side while farming that orb up.
A big patience play here coming through from Dodo Nut.
Going up.
Had a bit dangerous. This is nice though. Vanitas is kind of reading into this rotation over towards mid. Seeing if they can shut it down so that all of that effort that we're seeing over on the A side here from Oasis is just going to go run dry. Right now, Oasis down, so they've lost out on the opportunity to use that Viper Spit. That was, in fact, an interest of them, but going up towards the Evan. Vanitas is holding it, doesn't care, and actually making the damage work. So the wraparound coming through from Noya to really clear things up.
Really nicely done there here by SRG, just shutting that one down. Sen Otters, 2 rounds left into the half. They're going to take that timeout here as well, just to discuss how things have been going. Like you said previously, Gompers, last time this team played, Sen Otters had a standout attacking side. 4 rounds, not bad whatsoever, but this squad obviously is looking for more on the attack. We're seeing the adjustments, the effort that's being put in with the conditioning, the defaults that they're pulling here as well before they go for their burst executions onto site. And unfortunately, SRG, they found their rhythm. Unfortunate for the side of Sen Otters, that is. If you're an SRG fan, of course, you're going to be thrilled.
Yeah, they're definitely... I do feel like they're adapting and playing a lot more together than they were previously. It's hard. I do feel like Noya kind of took a step up here playing into that Viper roll over towards mid, so it became almost impossible, really, to kind of work your way up the way that they were doing previously, so I'm just looking to see how they can fix that one.
I think especially once Dodo Nut got that operator online, it made it a lot more comfortable for their SRG to kind of like roam around and do some of those trap plays, knowing that one angle was going to be just completely locked down now. Overall, though, last time we saw Sen Otters take a timeout on Haven, that first timeout, I want to say, actually, not the last time, but the first timeout that they took on Haven, we saw immediate results, Gompers, with how they were looking to make those adjustments. So we'll see if they can replicate that here on Split, and if that timeout's going to be as valuable as we saw it was there on the first time.
Seemingly it is. You know, they're seeing the privilege in going up towards mid. They're seeing the weakness as well. But Vanitas last time was spraying them down like crazy. And it's not like they give it up easily either. We're kind of seeing a hint of that right now, especially with Noya still waiting in the insides of Vent, waiting for Vanitas to make that passion play here. And it is going to be made 3v5. Of course, the spike is down and that Viper Spit is going to be utilized. But, I mean, at what cost? 5 players still left standing here, and Vanitas does have that ult, so
A lot of this relies on May right now. Alexis is gonna take her out here as well. This is getting weird, especially with this pit placement. It kind of leaves both these players on an island, hoping that one can swing off the other.
Okay, huge shot off Avery. That, well, unfortunately doing not too much good here, but it's just rough. Vanitas absolutely killing it. And Oasis making the wrong play of getting out of their smoke, so that's going to be a huge defusal here for SRG.
Nicely done into the retake there. I like the idea from Sun Otters at the very least. They kick it up into high gear, right? A very different look from the slow starts that we saw from them. They wanted to go for that B crunch, but with a lot heavier of B main presence that we had seen previously as well, right? No lurk on the other side of the map. They have those numbers to look for that execution. And it gets tough, you know, that pit goes down. I understand the placement because I think they wanted it to be possible for any of those mid players to cross back over into B main if necessary, right? Just cut off one of those angles and not allow the swarm to come through. It gets a little bit dicey. Final round now of the half bumps. Really no crazy impactful ultimates that we're expecting to come online. A world where we see the showstopper, perhaps. Maybe something cheeky.
Ooh.
I say that, unfortunately. She will not be present to do anything cheeky from the Shadow Realm as Omen in this round any longer. But we have at the very least equalized. Look at Glowstick. Walking up.
Oh, man. And the reaction time, unfortunate. But
And walking back.
it's redeemable, guys. It's redeemable, I believe. I'm not going to be a not believer, right? I do think there's a lot of potential here with this specific pick, but timing is huge, right? Making sure Glowstick doesn't really... I was going to say, like, have the opportunity to really play against anything, but I don't even think Sen Otters knows, like, what to do in this moment, right? 2 players left. Absolutely no information. Waiting for this wide swing to come through. Of course, the damage is there, though, so it's going to work out perfectly in trying to get a little bit more room to play with here.
30 seconds left.
Showstopper does come out like we're hoping for. It gets delayed for a little bit.
Yeah, looking to make some sort of magic happen with it. I do like this. I mean, if they can manage to get at least damage with the paint shells, try their best to get the headshots through. Avery, 20 health, so not much that SOTR can utilize in this moment.
8-4 half here for SRG. Unfortunate. Sun Otters were not able to find the success that they were looking for off the back of their timeout. I do think that, again, we did see maybe, okay, finding success. When I say that, they weren't able to find the round win off of it. But I do think they found success in how they were trying to execute what they were looking for in the past couple of rounds. It's just that SRG ended up winning the fights. Again, a lot of credit Sun Otters on adaptation, but now on defense, gotta lock things in. We saw them win that first pistol round, Gompers, but they weren't able to convert the second. They absolutely want to be looking for the pistol round here as well, especially knowing that SRG are up on that.
Yeah, having the better side now here for the attacking half gonna be quite difficult. SOTR actually already just waiting for them to take the site, playing the retake game, reading into what the entry's looking like, not necessarily sure if it's safe.
Paranoia available here still for Glowstick, just to look to continuously delay.
Yeah, Flash doesn't really make a lot of work here, but SRG are in a really good position if they can continue to slowly make their work with Glowstick on the site, but unfortunately it does go down. So, you know, in regards to what exactly this team can do, it really doesn't matter, right? It's just hit the headshots, Vanitas, get the 3K, you know, go in, boom. That's the name of the game.
Dude, I feel like, honestly, when it comes to SRG, any one of these players can be that player in the server, right? But this series thus far, it's been Noya and Vanitas, and the idea of Noya and Vanitas being the 2 players left when they're down numbers in a situation, you can never count the team out at this point from what I've seen across these past 2 maps. Just reinforcing what we've already known about them. SRG, now they want to go for this quick hit towards that B site. Saw the Wombo combo trying to deny that early angle, but no one on Sun Otters was looking to contest the stack, though, from the defenders, looking to make that rotation after gambling the wrong side of A.
I'm surprised they didn't do what SRG did to them last round. We should have been posted up. The high-low. What's going
All
on
five
with that?
players. All 5 players. Screw 2 players. Posted on baby. Give me all 5.
Genuinely, I think they could have run away with the round. That high-low was kind of crazy.
I think
unfortunately,
we have some info that they don't have. So
yes. This is actually real and true. So I'm just egoing them, unfortunately. But so is Invert. Invert is egoing everyone on this team with the headshots that they are getting right now. Vanitas is really trying to keep SRG's numbers high, but you know, 2v1, it's not terrible. Unfortunately, though, Avery does have a classic, and that's obviously not going to do too much damage. So that's a good round. I mean, SRG 10-4 is pretty comfortable.
it's been quite the streak that they've been able to amass for themselves. I think 8 rounds in a row, starting off in that first half that we saw. The weapons are now on the table here for send otters into the defense. You do have a run it back though, already online for Vanitas with the Phantom as well. This is another round where you were looking at and thinking, okay, definitely a world where we're seeing SRG getting super aggressive with the death ball that we're seeing straight outside of B looking to play together.
And the paint shell's ready to be slapped down to get some of that damage. I'm liking this. They're not really playing the retake game anymore. It hasn't been working. They're making that adaptation, and now they are absolutely finishing off SRG with a flawless.
Hey Gompers, it wasn't 5 players with pistols, but it was 3 players with rifles staring down B main and just like spraying through the smoke. So math is checking out.
I like it.
Bit. It worked out. I wanted to give you that. I wanted to give you that.
I'm highly satisfied. Like I'm gonna.
They did that for you. That was for Gompers. That was for Gompers. But Sun Otters, that 5th round on the board now, definitely huge for them, especially with how cleanly they're able to pull it off.
Toxins going up.
Just gonna have to keep that momentum going. Now we're back to the regular SRG, right? The team that's gonna be a little bit more precautious when it comes to pushing themselves onto the site, but I do like this approach, a very, very aggressive push coming through from Sun Otters and Glowstick. I mean, of course the numbers go down, but they've still lost 2. They've lost Donut and Alexis. Not a lot of, you know, utility to really push themselves onto site anymore.
Yeah, equalize that 3v3 now. Knowing the mid-re clear, it's always important to be able to get that information. It's necessary. All 3 players looking to stick together here on the side of SRG. We do have both curveballs to work with here for Vanitas. Sun Otters, on the other hand, they're all playing separately at the moment. So SRG, they have a huge opportunity right now to be able to pick these players apart while they're isolated.
Oh, no. Oh, Oasis was not looking at the right area either.
30 seconds left.
You know, timing really does kind of catch them off, and they have enough time to post plant. You know, get their positioning situated here. In regards to what exactly Sun Otters can do, not quite sure. It's looking a little dangerous.
One enemy
First
remaining.
smoke is up. A wide swing out, mate. No information, and kind of just not even waiting for Pattison. So yeah, 1v1s.
Yeah, definitely tough there. Sun Otters, I gotta say, definitely questioning the positioning, I think, in that round, like in the 3v3. When you have mid so exposed, there were just so many gaps. I would have liked to see them playing a little bit safer, Oasis namely, like in that position. Trying to play that off angle for their 4B main, but again, picked apart SRG. They got that opportunity to play those 3v1 situations. Now Sun Otters trying to stave off this match point from happening here, and series point for the side of SRG. Don't have too much to work with into this round. Avery is 1 away from those Seekers. They have been a pivotal player here for Sun Otters and such a hero in some big moments, so it could be the difference maker here for Sun Otter to get a 6. Ooh, I have been doing well on that today.
Next time. There's one more round. Technically more.
Guys, if
I'm
I
not gonna
strike
say
out
one more.
3, what happens?
Avery will get them next time, I believe. It's because they didn't do the 5-player hold B, but maybe we'll see it again. It does seem like the spray downs are slowly coming through. May's looking to make some sort of magic happen, but the paranoia doesn't come in time. The stun, unfortunately, actually puts them in an even worse position. And it sucks, you know, you've lost out on your initiator so early on in the round. You couldn't really utilize any of the ultimates left on the board here for SOTRs to keep yourselves in the game a little bit further. And now you got the high lows again, technically. I guess it's more so of a low because Glowstick is waiting.
Yeah, it's also that moment where Invert has a Phantom in hand, right? And they have no money for the side of SOTRs into the next round. Like, yeah, Invert does want to go for a little bit more, but realistically can't afford to do so. Is still going to continue to fight for it, though, and try to punish these players. Not going to be taking that Phantom away. Series point here for SRG Gompers. And SOTRs on B, they just got completely picked apart.
Now Avery's gonna get a lot of information, and I do think now is the time, because with SRG, again, the one thing I do feel like we're lacking is information. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I really do feel like we're going in so headstrong here on the defense that, you know, it becomes quite hard.
It does become definitely hard. I think that the operator coming out, that's something that unfortunate for SOTRs that they weren't able to pull out earlier on, because I think that's where we saw a lot of the success for SRG, right? When they got those rounds, that streak of rounds in the second half of their defensive side is because Dodonut was enabled with that off, and for SOTRs, because they only have the one initiator to really work with in that regard, lacking that information on defense has definitely been tough when it comes to those lanes. Hopefully this will be able to problem solve that a little bit for themselves here, but it's also a long ways to go to try to take it to overtime and eventually win the map out as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we need. And you know, momentum, it is something we can see be picked up. I mean, there's been a lot of comebacks throughout the entirety of Game Changers, so I'm not going to hold them out just yet. But they have to be incredibly proactive with what they're going to do here utility-wise, especially with what they already have now. Information coming through very, very quickly from Battison. I love the workaround, but the pop flash to leave Glowstick in a position of safety is crazy.
Yeah, really nicely done there. And SRG, they look to punish that same play that they made in that one of those first few rounds of the defensive side there in that first half. Seekers do come out from Avery to garner the information so they can have that ability to push down over towards mid, take this space, and put that pressure over on at the side of SRG. Look at the way that they're just going to run over into spawn. At this point, though, I don't think they were close enough to push down mid to actually hear that, so this pick from Vanitas is being sold.
Oh, it's looking brilliant, too. Maybe not, actually. They didn't really hear much after the fact. But at the end of the day, I mean, you already have 4 players on A site, 1 working themselves up towards heaven. So space is huge.
30 seconds left.
This is gonna get weird.
Yeah, not like in the op. Not much you can do there. SOTRs, unless Avery can pull through with a crazy 5-piece in a matter of seconds. Yeah, it's game at this point. SRG taking in the flawless and a 2-0, guys. It was 13-1 that first map, and now they're ending it with a 13-5 here, coming over to split a huge victory, and honestly, a really good showing for a team that has 2 new additions.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nicely done here for SRG. Did not really feel like they broke a sweat in this series. I do want to say, even though SOTRs weren't able to find the success when it came down to some of the rounds and actually